From the Wall Street Journal, listen to the opening of this story. Maria! A man's voice cut through the rain, pelting the pitch-black Caribbean Sea, just audible between two boats tossed around by 10-foot waves. People on the smaller vessel, a simple fishing skiff, held up cell phones like emergency flares in the night. The larger craft pulled closer. A figure, bundled in a bulky jacket and black ball cap, waved her arms. It's me, Maria. This is the epic tale of the mission to get the opposition leader, María Corina Machado, out of Venezuela. This was called Operation Golden Dynamite. Dynamite is what the Swedish chemist Alfred Nobel invented dynamite. That's why he started the Nobel Peace Prize, blah, blah, blah. She was getting the Nobel Peace Prize. She was not allowed to leave Venezuela. Somebody had the idea of let's put her on a boat while the U.S. is bombing boats in the area. Terrifying. The guy who led it is the founder and CEO of the Gray Bull Rescue Foundation, Bryan Stern. Bryan, welcome. You there, Bryan?
Hi, Glenn. How are you?
Good. I thought you were lost at sea here for a second. Bryan, what an epic tale. Can you tell it from the beginning? You're standing, I think, in the Miami airport on December 5th.
Yeah, it was last Friday, and it's kind of crazy when I say it like that because a lot of things have happened since then.
Yeah.
It's just over a week ago. My team and I were coming back from Aruba where we were setting up for Venezuela operations, and I've been very vocal about Venezuela for a very long time. I've worked Venezuela for a long time. We've known for a while that President Trump wanted a piece of Maduro. We've known that. He was very vocal about it as the 45th president, and again as the 47th, as we've seen. So we were getting ready and transiting through Miami Airport when I turned my phone on, and I had a whole bunch of missed text messages from a friend of mine. So I call him back, and he says, "Hey, look, man, I know you're doing Venezuela stuff. I got a weird one for you. You want to hear this guy out?" And I said, "Well, is it real? Is it not?" Because lots of people call us with like nonsense. What's interesting is this is our 800th mission that we've done as a team. 800 missions in 4 years. So we get calls to do stuff all the time. My team and I started August 2021, and we're in December 2025. So we've worked all over the place. Russia, Ukraine, you name it, we've done it. Gaza, we've done. Israel. So I asked my friend, is it real? Because I'm transiting and I don't want to waste a lot of time and we're busy and stuff. And he said, no, it's real. It's real. And I said, okay, cool. Connect me. He said, do you mind if I share your number? I go, yeah, sure. I go, are you in on it? He says, no, not really. Not really. I'm not really in on it. I go, okay, cool. So he connects me with this guy who turns out to be on Maria's team and one of her folks. And at first he wasn't transparent that it was Maria. So he asked me a couple of questions. Do you do things in Venezuela? Tell me a little bit about yourself. And we go through that bit. Mm-hmm. And he asked me, and I go, what's the project? And he starts to kind of describe it his way. And he's a good guy, but he's never done this before. And I spent 27 years in the intelligence business, so I've done this a lot. And I very quickly figure out that it's Maria. And at first he denies it. He says, no. How funny would that be? And I said, look, man, you know and I know. You know and I know that it's Maria. If you're not transparent and honest with me, I'm not going to be able to do a good job. So I need you to, we're going to be in this thing together. I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but If we're going to do this together, you need to be honest with me because things change. And he says, okay. And he kind of admits to it and cops to it. And that was Friday. That was Friday night. He and I spoke again Friday night when I got back to Tampa, and then we spoke again all day Saturday doing things. Sunday we set conditions. Sunday we set conditions and planned. I went to Miami to go meet with some Venezuelan friends of mine. Monday morning early deployed to the Caribbean. We set conditions on Monday, initiated on Tuesday. She was in Oslo for Wednesday.
That's unbelievable. What does it mean that you set conditions on Monday? What does that mean?
So it's kind of like this is an orchestra, okay? The way these operations work is like an orchestra. You have the string section, you have the horn section, you have the drum, the percussion section.
Right.
You have I don't play music, but whatever, all the different things, all the different instruments.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
You have like the violin people.
I was wondering why you missed the viola, but yeah.
Yeah,
all
right. It's not my area. I don't do that. I do
Right,
Hezbollah and Maduro.
Right.
So you have all these different people, and it's all music, and we're all on the same team. But the reality is, the violin people don't know how to play a saxophone, and the saxophone people don't know how to play a violin.
Correct.
And the music of the violin is different than that of the saxophone, and all these different things. So, but everything has to work in harmony. And if one instrument in the orchestra is off key, you're not making music, you're making noise. And that's the one thing that everyone hears. So when we build these operations and we talk about setting conditions, it's getting all the instruments to be ready to rock and roll. And many of those instruments, many of these people do not know what they're doing. So there are people, lots of people, who worked on this operation, who were instrumental in this operation, who have no idea that they helped get Maria Corina Machado to safety. They do not know.
That is
for their safety.
crazy.
For their safety. And
That's
also because
crazy.
we need to understand, Maria Corina Machado, from the Maduro perspective, is like what Osama bin Laden was for us. There's
Correct.
tens of thousands of intelligence officers have been looking for her from Cuba, Venezuela, Russia, Iran, the Chinese, Hezbollah, cartels. She is the most wanted person in the Western Hemisphere. And to add insult to injury, because of the Nobel Prize piece, they knew if she was in Venezuela that she's going to need to be making a move this week. So they were really switched on. They were really looking aggressively.
So how did you get her from hiding to the shore? And then you got to tell the story about the water, because that's insane. So
the water part was honestly the harder part. Yeah, so
really?
we don't get into a lot of the specifics for security reasons, as you would imagine.
Okay. Yeah.
She was in a house and then had to get to a spot where there was a boat. And this is not a port where you're like getting a ticket. This is a sandy, nasty, kind of beachy, marshy area that you wouldn't really want to be in, honestly. And that's why we picked these sites for that reason. Not pleasant. And she embarks on boat one with a small group of amazing men, and they're embarking with the expectation of rendezvousing with the second boat. That's the boat that I was on, which has come from across the whole Caribbean. So our trip was very, very far. Their trip was relatively short, but we're doing this under cover of night in pitch black. We had a little bit of moonlight, and a lot of cloud cover. We were in 5 to 10 foot seas, depending on where, right? And these are not big boats. These are not big boats. Oh, yeah, by the way, the whole world is trying to find her. And oh, yeah, by the way, our military is dropping things from the sky onto boats. So this is pretty high stakes.
So did you? So she goes out. She's running really late, right? The boat launches really late, and then the seas pick up. They're 10-foot waves. They start drifting. You don't have eyes on her. Nobody has eyes on her, and you do have the threat from above. Did anyone above? No, don't bomb us. Please don't bomb us, and a little boat might be out there. Don't bomb them either.
So this is where it gets hard for people to understand. This is where it gets hard for people to understand is that nothing we do is classified. I'm not government. Contrary to common opinion, we do not work for the CIA. I'm not I've been listed as a former assassin. I've been listed as all kinds of things. None of these things are true. We're a nonprofit. We're just a foundation. What you see is what you get. If you go to grablerescue.org, you can read about all of it. We're donor funded. This operation was paid for by donors, tax deductible. Okay, so because of who we are, though, and because of what we've done and where we've done it and where we come from and where my board comes from and where my team comes from, we have our fingers. We have a very large network of good guys and bad guys. The good guys are at the highest levels of government, four-star admirals and generals, deputy assistant secretary of fill in the blank, from the intelligence community, the diplomatic corps, the military community, the special operations community. I've only been doing this for 27 years only, right? So we know a lot of people, and we have a very good reputation. So when we call and say, hey, look, here's a lat long, we're going to be conducting an operation in the vicinity of this lat long around this time, be advised that's us. Number one, don't get excited. That's us. Don't kill us. Number one. Number two, it would be super cool if you could tip us off if you see someone else trying to kill us from flight time of a Venezuelan F-16 to where we were operating, about 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes. So we are danger close to the bad guys. And the way these work is you don't know if you have a problem until you're getting shot at. They don't call you on the phone and say, hey, jerks, we know what you did. We're coming for you. You better surrender. They don't do that. They shoot you full of holes instead. So this whole time we're doing all kinds of tricks, all kinds of deception operations. We're putting things out, getting things on the street. We had a whole group of bad guys convinced that we were going through the land into Guyana. That wasn't true. All kinds of things designed to create confusion, create space, to create noise, right? It's the abracadabra of any good magic trick, right? The Russians call me Amerikansky Volshabnik. It means the American magician. This is how I got the name, is because, when the street card guy says, don't take your eye off the card, here's your card, don't take your eye off the card, the last place you should be looking is that card. That's the last place you should be looking, right? Okay?
Right.
That's how we do this stuff. So it's a little bit of deception, it's a lot of manipulation, and it's a lot of really understanding how the bad guys function, how they work, what they'll fall for, the cultural nuances. I know they are hungry for Maria. I know that. I spent 27 years in the intelligence business, hungry for very important people, and I know how I would react if I got a tip, right, from a reliable source. So we create that tip from a reliable source, and they go for it. And what happens? They're dedicating resources to a figment of my imagination. And now it gives me space. Now they're not. It gives me space.
We're talking to Bryan Stern. He's from Grable Rescue Foundation. He's the guy whose team went out and did this amazing rescue operation and got the dissident leader from Venezuela over to Oslo to be able to get the Nobel Prize. I mean, it's an incredible story. You read about it at glennbeck.com. I know, Bryan, you're not connected. This had nothing to do with the United States government. No government money went towards it. No government operations. Correct? Okay.
Correct.
So
100%.
I don't want to present this.
I wish there were. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it ethically, but there isn't.
Yeah. I only have a minute. I don't want to make it sound like you have any inside information, but you do have experience in this. Are we going to war in Venezuela, do you think?
I think so. And I don't think we're going to put boots on the ground. I think this will be, airstrikes. I do think that we're making a couple of miscalculations here and there strategically. We're doing what I call it the three little pigs. We're saying, to Maduro, you better, we're doing a big buildup. We're going to huff and we're going to puff and we're going to blow your house down. You better go or else. And if he says, screw you, I'm not leaving, then we have a very tough decision to make. So I think there's fun ways and better ways to do this. Personally, I'm all about the build up. I'm all about doing strikes. The drug vote didn't happen to nicer people.
Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of a movement, because that's really what all of this is. If you want the full story, you want to go deeper, go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Go there right now, sign up, no interruptions, just the truth, uncensored and unfiltered. Don't just watch, take a stand. And I'll see you over there in a minute.